Right, moving on to another big breaking story on NDTV 24/7 at the moment, and this relates to the IPL fixing and betting scandal. Remember, Justice Mukul Mudgal was heading a three-member panel and he submitted his report to Supreme Court today. Here are some salient points of that report. Firstly, he's established that Meiyappan's role in illegal betting in the IPL has been established. That's very important. Remember, Gurunath Meiyappan was arrested by the Mumbai police in connection with betting, illegal betting in the IPL. The other charge that was being looked into by Justice Mukul Mudgal was Gurunath Meiyappan's role as a management of Chennai Super Kings. That has also been established. He was functioning as a team owner of Chennai Super Kings. That's what the report says. Remember, the CSK franchise themselves had said that Gurunath Meiyappan was just a cricket enthusiast who was with the team. Meanwhile, Raj Kundra and Shilpa Shetty's role in illegal betting in the IPL, it needs to be proved further. That's what Justice Mukul Mudgal says. Serious concern. Now, this is a very important point because it involves not just the BCCI president, but now soon to be the chairman of the ICC as well. There are serious concerns about N. Srinivasan's conflict of interest. This is what Justice Mukul Mudgal has concluded in his report. Joining me for more on this story is my colleague Rika Roy. Rika, you were there at the Supreme Court. Could you just give us some more details on this?
Well, Nikhil, I have the conclusions and the recommendations of the report with me. It is a report which has 44 volumes, and the first line of the report here says that the committee is of the view that the material on record clearly indicates that Mr. Gurunath Meiyappan was the face of the CSK and the team official. It conclusively proves that Gurunath Meiyappan was a very important official of Chennai Super Kings. Contrary to what CSK has been saying for so long, they have been saying that he is just an enthusiast who has been sitting in the dugout. It also says the report, in fact, goes on to detail that in not having taken action on Gurunath Meiyappan, the franchise has violated the IPL operational rules, anti-corruption code and the IPL code of conduct of team officials and players. Justice Mudgal has said that his job is only limited to finding out individuals' roles in IPL spot fixing, in IPL spot fixing, but he cannot give punishment on individuals. Correct. So he says the probe committee can only suggest a violation of rules to the Honorable Supreme Court and does not have a mandate to impose any punishment. It is for the Honorable Supreme Court to decide what action, if any, is to be taken on the report. So the arguments on the reports are going to begin on the 7th of March, which is when we will get to know the quantum of punishment that is handed out to the franchise Chennai Super Kings. Right. As regards Rajasthan Royals is concerned, Mukul Mudgal has said that Shilpa Shetty and Raj Kundra's role in spot fixing has to be probed further.
All right. At the moment, our focus is, of course, on Chennai Super Kings because these are the findings of Justice Mukul Mudgal. Some grave observations there by him. We'll go across to senior cricket writer Pradeep Magazine, who joins us on the phone line. Mr. Magazine, you were one of those people that was questioned by Justice Mukul Mudgal. He went around speaking to a lot of people who understand how cricket functions in this country, and you were one of those. On the face of it, are you happy with his findings? Do you think it's fair what he's concluded?
Well, I am extremely pleased if what you are saying, these are the findings he has given. In fact, while I was there in the when I was asked to appear and asked to give my observations on a whole things, I had asked Justice Mudgal one question specifically that I can understand that maybe fixing cannot be proved, but there are so many other issues which need to be addressed, and I hope his committee does that. And Mr. Mudgal said that yes, they are talking to various people, and be rest assured that his probe is going to go at length whatever they find out needs to do to address problems with Indian cricket. And I'm extremely pleased and happy that he and his committee have actually done that.
Right, Mr. Magazine, stay with us. I'll come back to you. We also have Atul Vasan, former India cricketer. Atul, the findings now for many who were involved with cricket, be it journalists or former players, many of them already knew the association that Gurunath Meiyappan had, and many of them already reached a conclusion that it was very tough to say that he was not involved with Chennai Super Kings. Now that the findings have been made public, Justice Mukul Mudgal's findings, have they surprised you, or are these on expected lines according to you?
Not really. There's no surprise whatsoever, and I think barring that feeble effort by Mr. Srinivasan to safeguard Meiyappan at that point, saying that he was not the team, main representative, just an enthusiast. That was a foolhardy attempt at actually creating a kind of a smokescreen. Otherwise, we had no doubt, because I think the law agencies will follow their own probe and everything. But that entirely is a question of impropriety. Our question here is that, be detached, because Meiyappan is history now. He's done and dusted with the law, will follow his own course. He has been banned. He's got no way back in cricket. Now, just to, put everything to the blame of Mr. Srinivasan, I think that would be entirely wrong as well, because I am willing to give him the benefit of doubt that he did not know anything about what Meiyappan was up to.
Right, Atul, you say we should give benefit of doubt to Mr. N. Srinivasan simply because he was not involved in any sort of fixing and probably didn't even know about that. Fair point you mentioned there. But another thing that Justice Mukul Mudgal has observed and mentioned in his report, that there are, serious allegations of conflict of interest against Mr. N. Srinivasan, and they need to be proved further, because there is enough proof to say that there is conflict of interest there.
Of course there is, and we have known it since the time when the franchises were given away. But there was no mechanism as such to bar somebody, and then the rule was made. So IPL has got no set template which it has followed, and they have been making rules as they have gone along. And that was the rule they made, that even somebody associated with the board could own a team, and that was that. Once the rule was made and he was allowed, then to bring that again back into conjunction is also, I think, wrong. If it was conflict of interest, it would have been taken care of then. But now we are too far gone for him to actually take his team out of it, or India Cements not being owners of it, or Mr. Srinivasan not being owner of Chennai Super Kings. So it's just hindsight, that everything is coming out.
All right, Rahul, thanks so much for joining us on that subject of conflict of interest. Let me just read out what the Mudgal report says. He says, I'm not pronouncing any opinion on the conflict of interest issue because it is not part of the terms of reference of the panel, but was brought to notice of the court. But we'll have to wait and see if the Supreme Court takes that matter further or not. Pradeep Magazine still with us. Pradeep, before I ask you this question, let me just quickly run our viewers through the clause that's very important, that is going to come into play after the Supreme Court pronounces its judgment. That's the clause 11.3 that is being talked about so much. Basically what it says, that is, a franchise must be terminated immediately if the franchise and or any owner acts in any way which has material adverse effect upon the reputation of IPL, BCCI, the team and or cricket. This is clause 11.3, which can be very important. We'll put that up on our screen very shortly. But to you, Mr. Magazine, this clause does exist, but we've seen it in the past that the clause may exist, but the BCCI may not take cognizance of the fact. We've seen it in other issues as well. Do you suspect that might just happen now? Because at the end of the day, they consider themselves a private body and not answerable to anyone.
Look, this is a Supreme Court monitored probe, and whatever suggestions or findings Justice Mudgal panel has given, I hope, and I'm sure Supreme Court will want that to be implemented. I think the serious issue of conflict of interest, which Atul Vasan was saying that nothing can be done. The problem here is that as being the board president, and now he is going to be the ICC chairman, and here is a Supreme Court panel indicting him in the sense that his son-in-law is supposed to be the team owner. That's what has been established. And if the IPL rules say that any team indulging in these kind of a practice needs to be banned, it should be banned. Here is where conflict of interest comes, because he himself is the president. He is himself going to take the decision on whether Chennai Super Kings should be banned or not. So who takes this decision? That is the million-dollar question which the board should address and which the Indian public needs to know.
All right. We also joined on the phone line by Mr. MP Pandav. Sir, before I ask you the question, I'd also like to tell you that Justice Mukul Mudgal has submitted his report to the Supreme Court. Here are some of the things that are mentioned in the report. I'll just run you through the salient points. Firstly, he says that Gurunath Meiyappan is the face of CSK and team official of CSK. This is one thing that he's established. Secondly, he says that allegation against Meiyappan for betting stands proved. He's just talking about betting, not fixing in this case. But fixing, of course, needs to be probed further. This is what he says. My question to you, since you're part of the BCCI, the BCCI rulebook says that any kind of disrepute to any to the IPL by any franchise or anyone who was involved in the franchise, then the franchise needs to be terminated. This is a clause that you've invoked earlier as well. Keeping that in mind, shouldn't any action be taken with regards to Chennai Super Kings as well? Because now it's been established Gurunath Meiyappan was part of Chennai Super King and that is brought the game into disrepute. Here's the clause on our screen as well.
Well, I have also seen that the report has been submitted by Honorable Mr. Justice Mukul. This is since the matter is with the Supreme Court and it's sub judice, and the court is seized of the matter, and the findings given by Justice Mudgal will have the judicial scrutiny. At this point of time, there are two different issues. One issue is something going on with the conflict of interest, and the other thing is betting or other things in the IPL. There are two different issues in this. One is under the purview of the IPL Governing Council. They have to take first cognizance, examine the report and arrive at a decision, then recommend to the BCCI. And the other one is under the Honorable Supreme Court. So they will take cognizance of it, and whatever they will decide, that will take, the law will take its own course. And I don't think there's anything more than that can be said about this.
Right. The reason I ask you that question, as you're saying, law will take its own course. We'll of course have to wait for when the judgment by Supreme Court comes. But we've seen it in the past when it involves someone very close to a BCCI official. Law does not take its course. For example, I'll talk to you about the ownership pattern. There was a rule that anyone who's part of the BCCI could not own an IPL franchise. That law was later changed to the benefit of the BCCI president. This is something that everyone is wary of. So, keeping that in mind, can we expect the BCCI then to be fair in this matter?
Sorry, I am interrupting you because whatever you are saying, there are few things which you are saying are already sub judice. So whether the record has been changed or not changed, whether the conflict of interest is there or not there, it is already submitted to the Supreme Court, and when it is under the Honorable Supreme Court, we cannot comment on that, right? The other thing is of the franchisee. Once one report has come, so this report will now be examined, and after that the IPL Governing Council will take issue on that.
Right,
so I don't think anybody can speak much on this. So let's wait and see what happens.